G'day everyone, here today we're going to have a look at this plant. It's called Euphorbia Stellispina. Comes from South Africa and it grows up on the rocky flats. Normally you find this plant under a caroid bush because they can cope with the heat to a certain degree, but because it gets fairly hot where they grow, get up to 45 Celsius. So yeah, they don't mind a bit of shade, but not full shade. With a lot of plants they can cope with so much, but yeah, this one here, it gets the afternoon sun. It's been growing outside. It can cope with fairly cool temperatures, like up to or down to -5. And this plant I've had for 18 years. When I actually got this plant, it would have been, I'll point out one of the offsets. I think, right, yeah, when I got it, it was that big, that offset there. That's how big it was. And it didn't have as many spikes on it. And the spikes are pretty unique. They're in like a star shape. And actually, she's got a couple of flowers. One's just finished flowering, but another one's coming up. So most of the time when she puts out a spike, she brings up a flower in the growing stages. And yeah, she's actually grown on a bit of angle. I've got to actually turn her around so she can sort of like grow a bit more straighter. But yes, I might have to take off some offsets. She's been in this pot for quite a while. I think she'll be nearly due for a repot. They do have a deep root system. Like with most of the euphorbias, they don't like to be in rich soil, and they don't like their feet wet all the time. So be careful when you water them. So I water this plant during the summertime once a week. I just give it, say, a cupful of water, and I leave it at that. And then if it rains, it can get its water that way, and I won't water. Like today, it's poured down rain and it's got a good soaking. But yeah, this plant here is dioecious, so it's a single sex plant and it's a male. And it's unbelievable. If you know about a plant that's either a male or female, well, it's going to be a single sex, you'll go out and buy two, but then again you've got to wait for them to flower, and it takes roughly around about 5 to 8 years for these things to flower. So you know, you've got to wait quite a long time before you can actually work out what you've got. So yeah, so the offsets definitely male, so no matter what I do, they're always going to be male plants off this plant. You can hear me lorikeet in the background there, calling the other lorikeets Rambo. Yes, but anyway, yeah. So propagating, they're fairly easy to propagate from seed, as long as the seeds are fresh, and you keep. And also too, when you do store them, try to keep them in a cool, dry area. It normally takes roughly around about 2 to 3 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks to germinate, pop out, and I normally put it in a bit of a peat and perlite mix with a bit of coarse river sand through it to give it a bit more drainage. And you stick the seed in a couple of millimetres into the soil, and then I give it a good spray over the top, and I put it underneath a normal fluorescent light, and put a lid over the top of it just to keep the humidity up and for it to push for germination. This plant's pretty unique for it, the way the spikes are. I suppose in a way I'm always fascinated with plants that have got something unique about them, especially the spikes on this plant. And I've got another one that you would have seen, or I'm about to upload, or I have uploaded, and it's Euphorbia Stellispina from South Africa. It's pretty unique because of the spikes on it, and this one too. But it takes a while for it to get to this. Like I said, this plant here is 18 years old, and it's sort of like taking quite a fair few years to get to where she is. And I don't move it. She's been in the same place, in the same position for the last, say, 10 years. She used to be he used to be in the hothouse when it was a lot smaller. But unfortunately, a lot of the plants over time have grown, so I had to move these plants outdoors and realise they can handle the cold weather. Also too, you can take cuttings off it, like the offsets, and like with your Euphorbias, always best to wash off that latex, put it in water, and that'll virtually stop the latex from flowing. Best time to do the cuttings is late August to early November. It's the best time to propagate these the offsets. And with the offsets, always wait for them to heal up, and to make sure that latex is washed off, because if it's got too much latex, it might encourage rot and you'll lose your plant. And try to keep the plant upright, because when you do take the offsets off it, it's all like curved into a bit of a hook shape. So just keep it upright and the roots will eventually come out, and it will take a few weeks for it to put down roots. But also the mix would be porous, a bit of peat moss with some coarse river sand to have good drainage. Then once she's established, depending on what size pot you've got it in at that time, I would put it in a depending on the size of the plant, into a 2-inch pot. Whether it fit, if it doesn't fit into a 2-inch pot, maybe a 3-inch, something that it actually can sit in there. Fairly easy to propagate from offsets. I thought about taking some offsets off this one to allow it to sort of like fill out a bit more, because it's as it's growing, it's actually pushing the plant, the offsets out. So yeah, there's quite a fair few offsets on this thing. There would be, I don't know, maybe about 15 offsets. They look different once you take those offsets off. But yeah, it's an unusual plant. I love the way it looks, those spikes. So just a short video on this plant, Euphorbia Stellispina. And I'll upload some pictures of the female and the male flower. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this little video on this plant here. And if you like the video, hit the like button. If you've got any comments, like always, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions if I can. And like always, we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.